There's never been a worse time to be a knife collector or a fan of knives. At least that's partially true, but in the context that we're talking about today, it could not be more true. We also have a mystery package from one of our channel sponsors, a community carry of the week, and much more. My name is Taylor Martin, this is Deep Cuts, and let's do the damn thing. Just right up front, we have a new EDC Confessional. This one comes from EDC Edit _ over on Instagram, and they say, living in the UK, gear can get really expensive, especially USA-made knives. I recently purchased a McNeese PM Mac 2 3.5, which cost me a total of $870. That's $340 more than you would pay in the US. It was purchased new from a McNeese official dealer in the EU, but the taxation and customs fees really made this purchase far more than I expected / wanted. Attached to this confession is a photo of my knife along with my Spyderco dog tag, which I hooked up with a Silipac magnet and a black chain. Enjoy. P.S. My IG is EDC Edit. Yeah, I mean, it's completely, totally true. It's never been a worse time to be a knife collector or a fan of knives. And it's more than just what EDC Edit here is talking about. So the tariffs, the imports, that's bad. We've seen companies like Victorinox decide to start making knives, or at least assembling and doing part of their production inside the US to avoid tariffs because they're importing parts and not a finalized product. And we also have companies like this right here in North Carolina, Spartan Blades, teaming up with other companies to make knives in Europe so that European customers can get them a little more easily, which is crazy. And the first thing that actually Ricky mentioned when I read this to him was, why is he paying import? If he's buying it from an EU dealer, why is he having to pay even more taxes, imports, customs? My guess is he's bought this from something like Knife Lounge and then had to pay import from Germany to the UK. So he's kind of getting hit multiple times here, I guess. But yeah, $870, that's almost $900, which is crazy because the PM Mac 2 is already a very expensive knife. Not to say it's overpriced, it's just an expensive knife. And that's true across the board now. And this is why I decided to title this episode, It's Never Been a Worse Time to Be a Knife Collector. And that is because we are dealing with not only these tariffs and imports and taxes on knives, we're dealing with a market where knives have never been more expensive. And what I mean by that is, so we have companies like Chris Reeve and Shirogorov and Grimsmo and all of these really high-end, even McNeese, really high-end, high-quality, precision machined knives. They are expensive. They're not trying to be cheap or budget friendly. They are precision machine tools. They are very, very high end, and they're intended to be high end. But at one point, maybe 6 years ago or so, we had this massive burst of Chinese alternatives come onto the scene that were also very, very high quality, but for like a fraction of the price. And I remember, and I would say this is probably more an exception than the rule really, but I had this knife, the Ferrum Forge Falcon. That was an S35 VN flipper, frame lock on bearings. Honestly, a phenomenal knife for the time, and it was like 120 bucks, which is crazy. Like, that was a premium knife for $120, and that was hard to even fathom at the time. But then on the flip side, you have production knives like this, the Lux, you have the 520 from CKF, you have the Wolf P from Wear Knives. All of these are very, very expensive production knives. And that's not to say they're price gouging or anything like that. This one has a Bacon Damascus blade. This one is a Russian company, I believe produced in China. I'm not 100% sure on the history of CKF. You could correct me or let me know in the comments down below exactly where CKF is made. To my knowledge, it's kind of not exactly known, and it may be now, but the last time I looked into it, I couldn't find out if they were Russian or Chinese. And this Wolf P has Damascus collars and a clip and a backspacer, so this is not like the base model. But all I'm saying is we've seen these Chinese production knives slowly creep up. I would say the range before really felt like it was at the upper 100s, like maybe 200 bucks to say 300. And I felt this shift to like the mid 200s to 350. And now we're getting up into like $400 Chinese production knives for titanium frame locks. That didn't really seem to be a thing a few years ago, unless you were looking at something with a Damascus blade or Damascus inserts and collars and clips, like a full dress kit or whatever. I feel like the baseline price for a lot of Chinese production knives has increased over time, and that may very well be due to labor, taxes, imports, all of that, right? Tariffs, that all might be due to that. But regardless, all of that makes it one of the worst times ever to be a fan of knives. We've now come to the part of the show where we need to thank our channel sponsors and those who make this show possible. Obviously, you guys are top of the list. I wouldn't do this without you, but also I want to thank Worksharp. This is your reminder to use your shit and sharpen your knives. Check out Worksharp for all of your sharpening needs. And of course, like I mentioned already, the RMX, which is their new knife. They drop it every single Monday at 10 a.m. PST. I also want to thank Big Idea Design. They've been one of the longest supporters of what we do here. They are awesome people, but they also make amazing titanium pins and pocket tools. They make watches and now knives. They have all sorts of stuff. Go check out everything they have to offer. Use the link down below and use coupon code BDEDC for 10% off. And of course, Blade Binge. Buy, sell, trade all your used EDC gear. So if you're in the market for something you want to save a little money, speaking of expensive stuff, you can go to Blade Binge and you can find all sorts of used goods. They have tons of really interesting stuff that you can browse, but you can also get rid of some of that stuff if you have maybe too much of a collection. Maybe you need to just make some cash and pay some bills. You can go to Blade Binge, you can list your stuff, but there's also buyer protection. So Blade Binge acts sort of like a middleman, an escrow account, if you will. So all parties are protected. It's a very easy and safe way to buy, sell, or trade used EDC gear. It's not just knives, it's all sorts of stuff. Go check out Blade Binge. There's a link in the description down below. And finally, I want to thank Carry Commission. Yes, it's my store right here, right over to my left. That's my store where I work with all sorts of different companies and collaborate and make things like this. This is a Paladin 33 Carry Commission collaboration wax canvas belt bag XL. So we've already done the belt bag. We're dropping the XL this week, or we already dropped it. So go check them out if they're still available. Pick one up. It's a really, really nice belt bag. You have hook and loop inside. There's a rear pocket as well as a front pocket. It's a great bag. It's a great gift. You could probably start your Christmas shopping now. Probably should. I'm always a last minute shopper, but Paladin 33 belt bag, they're available at Carry Commission right now. But there's another big reason why I feel it's the worst time ever to be a fan of knives. And it's something we kind of talked about a little bit last week, which is there are so many knives now. It is absolutely, totally impossible to keep up. Like I said in the last Deep Cuts, I said back when I started this channel, it was very easy to create a top 10, like best 10 knives under 50 bucks list easily. Very, very easy. Now, if I were to try to make that list, I don't even know where I would begin because I've only handled 5%, maybe even less than that, of the sub $50 knives out there now. Because it's just a whole new category market in and of itself. Like there's a race to the bottom and there are so many great makers out there making great knives, but they are releasing new knives constantly. You have Civivi, Vosteed, Honey Badger, Sincut, I don't even remember all of them. There's Kaiser, but there's so many, and they're all releasing multiple knives every month. So I don't even know how anybody can keep track of that anymore, which in my opinion makes it one of the worst times to ever be a knife collector because there are way too many options and constant just like, look here, watch here, look here. And I fully admit I am part of the problem here. I am showing you all these new things, but I'm even trying to curate and only show you the stuff that moves the needle for me, that I think is significant enough to show you. And I'm constantly, every single week, showing you something new, and I'm only showing you a small, small, small fraction of everything coming out. So it's a wild time to be alive for sure, right? Everything is just exploding, bursting at the seams. And I feel like there has to be, at some point, there has to be a course correct, right? There has to be this ebb to the flow, right? We've been just exploding. The bubble has to burst at some point and there has to be less of stuff. Like, I just feel like, in my opinion, and I think where this comes from is I had a conversation with a good friend this past weekend. The problem, and maybe why I feel so disconnected and I guess like off-put a little bit by the knife market right now, is that there are so few stories behind what's being done. It's just knife model, knife model, knife model, knife model, and there's nothing to connect with that knife except for some cool aesthetics, maybe a slightly unique feature, some colors, a little variation here and there, but there's no story. There's nothing behind it. The things that I connect with, the things that I buy and carry, and I like to put my money into are the things that have story and interest. Like, I really love the story behind the RMX. I love the story of Dan wanting to build this 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and he finally did it, and they did it in a way that was very, very cool. I like that a lot. There's a reason that I purchased this. I'm jumping ahead because this was part of show and tell. There's a reason I purchased a McNeese Dixon this weekend because I really like the story. I like Jonathan, I like their family, I like what they're doing, I like the aesthetic of their knives, but there's just a cool story behind it, and I like the connection to that. And Ricky's another one who will tell you all about all these stories. That's probably why his documentaries are so great. And that's not to say that I don't purchase and buy things that are just cool for cool's sake. I do. This is one of them, right? There are plenty of knives like that, but I do think that one of my biggest complaints right now with this whole space is that there's just not as much of a connection to all the gear and the knives. It's just, here's a knife. And I don't resonate with that nearly as much as I do a story behind something, or even just the story of the person behind it. On the flip side of all of this, it being the worst time ever to be a knife fan or a collector, if you're a fan of choice, it's never been a better time to be in the industry because there is an excess of choice, just so much to choose from, which is, in its own right, a very good thing. So it's definitely a double-edged sword. I just thought that this confessional from EDC Edit just kind of put me on a tangent, and I wanted to get that out there. So my question to you is, do you think it's the best or worst time to be in this industry and part of this community? Also, obviously, we all know that more expensive stuff is not as good for the consumer, right? That we can all agree that everything being more expensive, not great. But that aside, is it the best or worst time to be part of this? All right, so last week in the instructions for the giveaway, I explained, so we have a giveaway, we'll talk about it at the end of the show, but I explained that I wanted you guys to tell me if there was ever a piece of gear that I recommended and you ended up not liking for whatever reason, or on the flip side of that, I recommended it, you didn't like it, and you carried it for a while and you're like, oh wait, it's actually pretty good. And there was a lot of responses, like a ton of responses. And I picked out some of the cool ones that I wanted to talk about. So this one comes from Chipperani. It says, you might hate me for this one, but my initial experience with the Chris Reeve Umnumzaan was very negative. I don't know if I just so happened to get a blim, but the action was extremely grindy at first and hard to actuate. The thumb studs would straight up hurt my thumb while trying to break it in, and the frame lock is not comfortable to use. It finally smoothed out randomly after I was flipping it one evening, and yes, I did take it apart, clean it, and grease it a few times. As soon as it smoothed out, I finally got what everyone's on about. Been a mainstay in my pocket. P.S. Hopefully I meet someone in the community at a show and can try out theirs. It's not a fake. I bought mine off Knife Center Drop. I have a Umnumzaan that is also, or I had, I got rid of it. It was extremely strong to tint. The other one that I have around here that I have now, it's not. So it's just what you get sometimes. The only unfortunate thing about the Umnumzaan is that you can't really tune the detent. If it has a strong detent, you can't lighten the detent. I've explained how you can do that with some in the past by hyperextending the lock bar in the other direction. You cannot do that with the Umnumzaan because it has a press fit, or I guess it's press fit, lock bar stabilizer. So you actually can't overextend that lock bar. I personally would have reached out to Chris Reeve to see if they could fix it, but it seems like it fixed itself. They are pretty gritty. All Chris Reeves are a little bit rough in the beginning, but I'm glad it worked out. I don't hate you for that one at all. The next couple here, there's a lot of comments. I'm not gonna read them all, but I was surprised how many people said that they bought a power pint. I know that we've sang the praises of the power pint for a long time, so it's not surprising to me that a lot of you picked it up, but how many people said, I hated the power pint at first and then had this like redemption arc for it, where they like picked it up again and they were like, oh wait, this thing's actually not that bad. I've said it a million times, the SOG power pint is not amazing. It's not a great tool. It's just a really good size, and there's no competition really in that size. Like, I'm sure there's something from Next Tool, but there's no like standout tool in that size that would compete with the power pint for me. It's just too good at what it is at that size, but it's not great. Like, there's nothing better, but that doesn't mean the power pint is amazing, right? I wish there was something like built as well as, say, the tool I'm carrying today, the Surge, in that power pint size. But there isn't. There just isn't anything, to my knowledge, that exists like that. Maybe I'll fix that. I don't need another project. Anyway, this person says, I used to carry a full-size multi-tool, Super Tool 300, first and later a Surge. After looking at several videos about small multi-tools, I decided to try them, first a Gerber Dime and now a SOG power pint. I'm delighted 95% of the tasks I use them for can be completed with them. I heard everyone say amazing things about the SOG power pint, so I went out and bought one for full price. I was largely disappointed with the quality of the tools, especially the scissors. They are left-handed and dig into your thumb. I replaced it with a Victorinox Cadet and Rambler. There are actually multiples just like this. I can't find the one I was thinking of, but this one says, for me, it was the Defo, the SOG power pint. I got it, found it too small, and just tossed it in the drawer. I changed my job and I needed something with a pliers that does not take up space, and then it clicked. I still have the multi-tool in a drawer. I took it with me to work and it was brilliant. Ever since, it lives in my pocket for the last 3 years. Yeah, I've carried the PowerPint a million times. I think I want to kind of revisit it and maybe do some mods to it and make it better, but I don't think I can make it a great tool. I think something just needs to be made to replace the PowerPint. But as of right now, I've yet to find anything. And there was someone who said I was wrong about the PowerPint and I'm wrong about the Surge. I said the Surge is just too much for EDC, but ever since that video, it's been in my pocket. So this person says, I was a huge wallet guy for most of my adult life. I had expired cards, business cards from randos I met at a bar, folded up receipts from shit I bought years ago, etc. I was gifted a minimalist wallet a few years ago and immediately thought to myself, you have got to be kidding me. I can only fit 7 cards in it. What about all that pocket change? Now, I freaking love my Wilder wallet, and so does my ass. Hashtag changed my carry. Yes, obviously, I carry the Wilder Hitchhiker wallet nonstop, and I have for years. I've tried hundreds of wallets, and I always come back. There's a reason it's really the only wallet we have on Carry Commission. All right, this is not controversial at all. I hated the multi-tool carry at first. Okay, so all of these, just in a row, were all about multi-tools. I didn't go why people were carrying multi-tools every day. Why do you need pliers and all of that? Until my brother gifted me a Leatherman Sidekick. Sure, it's a bit chunky, but with a nice leather holster for the belt. I don't go out of the house without it. Super helpful even in my line of work. As a handy guy, I use it every day without hesitation. Bolts, screws on the car, you name it. In the future, maybe I'll invest in more specialized for my uses multi-tool, but for now the Sidekick is perfect. This channel has been a great advocate for these tools, and man, I am more open-minded regarding new stuff than I ever was before. Thanks to you, Taylor, and the community. Keep it up. And basically everybody is saying, like, they didn't love multi-tools before, and now they do. I've carried a multi-tool for, God, the past 10, 15 years, almost every single day. And this one's great. TPT slide for me. Didn't see the point of carrying a utility knife. Got one for my bro as a gift, and he swore by it. I gave it a shot, and now it goes everywhere with me. I've saved the day opening bottles, tightening camera plates, and opening Amazon boxes. Best piece of EDC ever. And then you got a reply. Agreed. I have at least 10 similarly sized pocket utility blades, and this is the one that just hasn't been beat. The quick change feature eliminated the only thing that wasn't great about it. And yeah, the easy swap for the TPT slide is a massive improvement, and it's such a great tool. I don't carry mine every single day now. I used to, but I just have too much stuff. You'll see when we get to the old what's in my pockets. But yeah, I carried a TPT slide every day for 4 or 5 years. This is the last one. What changed my carry was unshackling myself from the idea that men can't carry sling/hand/body/bum bags. People will call it a purse, and I laugh and say, yeah, let's just call it what it is. I don't give a fuck. I'm not giving it up at this point. And yeah, if you care about what other people say about your carry, you've lost the plot, right? Like, I carry one of these. I don't care. I'm a dad. It's super convenient. Why wouldn't you? If you don't, you just haven't tried it, or you're too preoccupied with caring about what people think, which is stupid. Get yourself one of these. Go buy a wax canvas belt bag. It was really awesome to read about some of the things that I recommended you guys hated, right? I like hearing why you don't like something I recommend, because I can't recommend and be right for everybody, right? I can only tell you what my perception of something is and my opinion on something. So not everything I think and I recommend is going to convey, you know, or translate to a great recommendation for everyone. That's just not realistic. So I like hearing from you guys, you know, what it was about something I recommended that you ended up not liking, because that gives me kind of that increased perspective on, you know, maybe I should consider this the next time I look at a piece of gear like that. So it was really cool to read that, and there are a lot more comments that I couldn't get to, but yeah, I appreciate you guys calling me out. So next up, we've got show and tell, and like I said, we have this mystery box from Worksharp. Okay, so this box arrived yesterday, and obviously I cut it open, but I stopped because I didn't really want to look any further. Because at first I thought, hey, what's Worksharp sending? And then, well, you'll see. So there's only one thing inside here, which is a pot. Like a pot with some soil in it. Hang on, it's kind of toasty. Hang on. It's getting kind of hot in here. All right, that's better. Yeah, so this pot, I haven't opened it. I don't exactly know what the deal is here, but we're just gonna We'll use the RMX to cut this open. So I have a pot full of potting mix, it looks like, just some dirt. Worksharp sent me dirt. And then there's this Ziploc bag with a NAF's lander in it. Okay, so, all right. So you obviously see this shirt. It says Work Spud Potatoes and Peelers. And then we have a NAF's lander with spud handles. So let me explain. A couple months ago, I went to Worksharp's facility. They had several of us come out, Neves and Alex from Outdoors 55 and Ben from NAF's. We had a whole bunch of people out there. And the funny thing is, like, we landed in Medford and went straight to a brewery because I'd not eaten all day. I'd been on flights all day, and we went straight to a brewery. I ordered a burger because they recommended it. And with the burger came literally a giant basket of sweet potato fries, and the burger was sat atop the basket of fries. And I was like, that's a lot of sweet potato fries. The next morning we had burritos. In those burritos was 95% potato. So it was supposed to be bacon, eggs, potato, cheese. And it was really just like bacon bits, a sprinkle of some eggs, and potatoes. And every single meal we had for 3 days was like 85% potatoes. So this little feud started, if you want to call it that, between NAF's, which is, well, NAF's made this and sent a whole bunch of potatoes to Worksharp at Blade Show. They've been going back and forth. I've never felt like more of a child caught in a custody battle than I have currently, or I feel currently. But yeah, there's some spud handles for your NAF's lander and Work Spud. I don't know. I just wanted to share this with you. I thought it was funny. They just keep going back and forth, and now I have a potato-looking NAF's lander. That's got to go on display somewhere. What I'm really going to be upset about is if this doesn't have like a potato in it that'll grow. Like, come on, Worksharp. You're not going to let me at least grow my own potatoes? What's the point? Maybe you plant this. So stupid. And now for the real show and tell. I'm just going to show you the two things that I got at the Smoky Mountain Fall Festival. I was there this past weekend. It was a lot of fun. And I did get two things. First up, we have this. This is the Half-Faced Blades Disaster Folder. I can actually show you that it is very similar to the Dead Reckon Ridgeback. They have the same button. They've got the same pivot mechanism, which is when you push this button, if your thumb is on the pivot, it won't drop. Same deal. So I'm not sure the relationship there, what the deal is, but very, very similar folder. But this one feels kind of beefier, more substantial, probably mostly because of that blade. S45 VN blade, 7000 series aluminum on the handle. This clip is much better. It's got a deep carry clip, and I do love the Half-Faced Blades logo lasered on the back of the blade. That's really cool. I've been carrying this thing, and I really like it a lot. It's pretty tanky because it is that integral handle, which is super nice. I love integrals, obviously. The other thing that I picked up, which we've already seen, is that McNeese Dixon. Yes, I already had a Dixon. Yes, I wanted another one because I wanted that frag handle. I couldn't resist. So I've been carrying this thing and using it. The Dixon is probably my favorite folder to come out in the last year. It's got to be up there, one of them. You know, there's a few. Maybe we'll do a video before the end of the year talking about the best releases in the last year, but the Dixon is way, way up there for me. It's just a badass knife. But that's all I got for show and tell. Spud knife and some pickups from Smoky Mountain. Carry of the week. Here's our community carry of the week. This one comes from PCK. I don't know what that stands for. They do not have social media. And I picked this one because it's a really cool budget carry. The entirety, I added all of this up. The entirety of the carry is 180 bucks, which seems like a lot, but you've got a whole bunch of gear here, like a lot of gear here. So what he has in the bottom is a Diodrio pocket organizer, and then the flashlight is a Coast PX22 flashlight. He also carries a big lighter, and he has a black diamond carabiner. The watch is an F105W Casio watch, and then he also has two moleskin extra small journals. He has a Red Wing card wallet in veg tan leather, which he says is now discontinued. And then he has a Key Smart that he got on clearance Fisher Space Pen bullet in matte black. He has a free rosary, which he picked up years ago, and it stays in his pocket. And then he has, at the very top, the knife, which is an Opinel number 8 Carbone, so a carbon steel version. He has a Tizer titanium shackle, I guess, to hold the keys, and then all of that. The total, which is $181.14 based on his numbers. He says, this is the product of several years experimentation. I cycled through a few knives, most recent an older cold steel Recon drop point, but landed back on the Opinel because it's inexpensive. Likewise with the flashlight and pen, my sweet spot has ended up being maximum utility at minimal cost. Everything pictured here is carried every day. The oldest things are the carabiner and the wallet, as the patina on each will attest. I'm bummed because the wallet has been discontinued and I don't have a replacement lined up for when it eventually wears out. You should get a wallet with a hitchhiker, I'm just saying. I would love an equivalent wallet for when the current one becomes unusable, though this is likely quite a few years down the road. The current one is probably a decade old at this point. Yeah, wallet recommendations. There are actually a lot of very, very, very similar construction wallets to that. Like most boutique leather makers make a wallet very similar to that, but my recommendation for something that would probably last maybe even longer than this would be, no joke, the Hitchhiker because of the way it's constructed, or one of the OpenSea wallets because minimal stitching means it's gonna last even longer. So there it is. Thank you for submitting. If you would like to submit, be sure to hit the link down below or just go to edcw.co and you can be featured in the next episode. All right, finally, what's in my pockets? We'll make this quick. I've shown you most of it already, accidentally. We have the Leatherman Surge, the McNeese Dixon, and the half face blades Disaster. Big bulky carry this week. Everything else is exactly what I've been carrying for a long time now. We have the Pocket Pro from bigidesign, the Gaslight Industries jerry can lighter, and my Hitchhiker. We have the Hitchhiker and my watch, which is the Garmin Fenix 8 Pro. That's it. My carry doesn't change very often. I just carry the same stuff most of the time, swap out the watch and the knife from time to time, but everything else stays pretty much identical. Finally, let's get back to this thing really quick. There is a knife that I don't have on hand that will be part of this giveaway, but the giveaway. Last week I did forget to give the instructions in the email. I fixed that. They're there if you did sign up for the email. You got that. I sent it out after and a little bit of an apology because I was juggling a lot between the fall festival and a birthday in my family and a lot of travel. I just forgot to turn something on in the email, so the instructions didn't go out. I sent them separately, so check your inbox if you haven't already. But we have a few things up for this giveaway. First up is the Hitchhiker wallet from Wilder Goods Co. in Onyx. We also have a Canyonland Wave Alpha up for grabs, brand new inbox, as well as two things from bigidesign. We have their Everyday Notebook kit or pack, as well as the Pocket Pro Bronze, the one that I'm carrying. That is also up for grabs. And then there is a Tri-Stash in Ultim from Blade Binge that is also up for grabs. All of this is going to one winner. And if you would like to enter this giveaway, check your inbox because the EDC Weekly that I send out pretty much every week has the instructions. I will not forget it this week to include them. They're at the very bottom of the email. And if you follow those instructions, you're entered to win all of this stuff. I will draw the winner after October is over. We're doing once a month on these giveaways. They're gonna be bigger, but once a month. All right, that's it. I feel like I've been talking forever. Sorry about that, but I hope you enjoyed it. Everything you need to know is in the description down below. There's links for everything. I'll see you guys in the next video, and until then, carry on.